Right. So. All right, I'd like to call the Steamship Authority Board's meeting to order, July 21st, 2026 at 10:01 a.m. First order of business is a recording announcement. I would like to inform everyone that Sean Driscoll, the authority's communication director, is making audio and video recordings of today's meeting. If anyone else is making an audio and video recording of today's meeting, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon on the Zoom dashboard, or if you're joining by telephone, by pressing *9 on your keypad. And when you are recognized, please state your name for the record.
Louisa?
Louisa Hofstadter, the Vineyard Gazette.
Unki? Thank you. Jason?
Good morning, everyone. Jason Grazia Day, Nantucket Current.
Thank you. Kai?
Good morning, Kai Quigley, the Inquirer and Mirror.
Thank you. NFC TV. Whoever's on from FCTV, can you unmute yourself?
Sorry, Thomas Kerrigan, FCTV.
Thanks, Thomas. All right, all set.
All right. Next, a statement concerning remote participation. Pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 as amended, Robert Jones, Rob Rainey, and Craig Espinola are all participating remotely in today's meeting because their physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. Because of the participation in the meeting by Zoom video conferencing app, all members will be clearly audible to each other. And further, as a result of remote participation in the meeting, any and all votes taken by the members today shall be by roll call vote. And I'd like to welcome Craig Espinola, the newest appointee to the board from New Bedford. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I wish I was there with you in person to meet you all. Hope to do that in the near future. Really happy to be a part of this board and, ready to get to work. Certainly listening first and get to know all of you and all the needs of the board.
Great. Well, thank you and welcome again. And be ready for a long meeting for your first meeting. All right. The first order of business, I believe, is approval of last month's meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the authority's June 16, 2026 meeting and public session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, roll call vote. Mr. Espinola.
I'm going to abstain since I was not part of that particular meeting. I did review the documents for today, but I'll abstain.
All right. Mr. Galvin.
Gavin, aye.
Gavin.
Jones, aye. Jones, aye.
All right, Jeffrey, aye. Mr. Rainey?
Randy, aye.
All right, they've been approved. 4 plus 1 abstention. And next is the Port Council's report. Good morning.
Thank you very much. I would also like to extend my congratulations and appreciation for Craig's role on the board. It's going to be great to have a New Bedford rep back in that seat. New Bedford seems to be in the news of sorts with the Steamship Authority lately, so we're going to have a lot to talk about going forward. And as a precursor to the board, we too had a marathon meeting 2 weeks ago. At the Port Council. I will not summarize it in detail, as many of the reports you're going to be receiving today. I will say whether you may or may not, but we got a very good update on a conference, the Marine Law Conference, that some of the staff attended. So you may not have time for that. So we'll make sure that some summary of that gets into our minutes of the meeting, because it seemed like a very productive session that folks attended. We received all of the updates that you will on grants and projects, so I won't get into detail. I'll focus on the elements of old and new business, just to give you some guidance on the discussions that were held by the Port Council. The first item, which is on your agenda as well, is the proposed license to Robert B. Auer Offshore Tug and Transportation. We've been discussing this for a while about temporary or interim pilot service from Nantucket to New Bedford. The Port Council discussed that again on July 7th, made a recommendation to all of you to consider, under the guidance of staff, a temporary license for that service. I believe the actual term will be determined by, and obviously the rates will be determined by staff and Robert B. Auer, but we think it's worth running that, seeing if it's economically feasible, seeing if there is a market and demand there for that length of trip on any frequency from New Bedford. And as I've expressed, we just want to make sure there's some guardrails relative to what is being brought back and forth, or really from Nantucket to New Bedford. And so language to that is included in the license. We had a presentation request, which I don't think is on your agenda, for some special rates for veterans as well as for Honor Guard. And then we also had a request for potential vehicle service for healthcare trips, those that arrive in Woods Hole, getting escorted to a bus service up to hospitals in Boston. I think there was general interest and receptivity among the Port Council. We wanted some more detail on that and asked staff to go back and provide a little bit more of that. So that will likely come both to us and to you in future meetings. We also, as you will, nailed down the schedule for the new special standing committees on capital projects and governance. So looking forward to those getting started as well. And also had the same briefing that you'll get. I won't prejudge on the freight trucks on that early 5:30 vote. We also discussed at some length the general manager's, I'll call it interim performance review, that you will as well, and Janice will provide you a formal update on that. I will say briefly, I think we all gave Alex very high marks for really an extraordinary first 6 months. There's, as we all know, a great deal to digest on any given day, and that particular 6 months, particularly with the reservation system update and the need for even more public outreach on that. And I think that was handled, we all think that was handled very deftly in those first few months of Alex being on the job. So, and it's a interesting sort of time to do it after only 6 months. I think his work plan, I think his candid presentation on his self-evaluation was also very helpful. I'm sure you all will have more conversation on that, but it was a unanimous view of the Port Council that he gets very high marks. And I will stop there because I know you have a long meeting. If there are any other questions on Port Council, but I'll listen for a while.
Thank you, Gordon. Are there any questions from the board? All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Before we move to the treasurer comptroller's report, Alex, do you want to identify who is here from
Sure,
the
thank you.
Steamship leadership?
Good morning, Alex Kryska, the General Manager. I'm here with Mark Rozum, our Controller and Treasurer, Mark Emerson, our COO. Have in the audience a number of people. There's Janice Kennefick, our Director of HR, Allison Fletcher, our Director of Shoreside Operations. Tom Ennis from Givus is our Project Manager for the True North project. I see Joe Russis is there, who's Director of our Operations Center. He's going to be talking about our retention and on the crewing. Stephen Coleman is in the back. He's the Director of HR. Zach Lawrence, our Director of Engineering, will be giving our maintenance update here shortly. And did I miss anybody? Oh, Sheila Cochran's in the back. She's our media darling. And then we have Sean Driscoll is our Director of Communications. And last but not least, we have Terrence Keneally, our attorney.
Is anyone at Falmouth today?
And Josie Cullen, who's my intern.
Oh,
In the audience as
you'll
well.
see about their time.
One of our listening people.
All right,
Traffic on Woods Hole Road must be great today.
don't joke about that. All right, and I'd also like to mention that we have Joe Solito is present from the Port Council, and we have Chair of the Dukes County Commission, Christine Todd, is here. So welcome, thank you for coming. All right, and move with that. Am I missing anyone?
No, I think that's it.
All right, we'll move to the treasurer's report.
Morning, everyone. So we got the business summary for the month of May. So for the financial snapshot, we had operating revenues of just over $15.1 million, which was below budget by $343,000. We had operating expenses of $12.7 million, which was below budget by $275,000. Putting this together, we had a net operating income for the month. It's the first time we've had operating income in any month this year of $3,565,000, which was better than budget by $477,000. Year to date, we still have a net operating loss of $13,350,000, which is better than budget by $395,000. So we're tracking a little bit above where we thought we'd be for budget through the first 5 months. For the operating revenue, as mentioned before, we're down just under $343,000 for the month of May. Primary driver in that is passenger revenue, $300,000. Fast ferry passengers were down 16% last month on the Nantucket run. The IANA was out of service for 4 days, so that's a big driver on that number there. Year to date, we are down 1.1 million or 2.5%, and down across the board. The interesting thing is that the Nantucket route, and we'll see that as we get to our future slides, their statistics are up for the year, while the Vineyard route, most of their categories are down for the year. So a little difference of 2 different islands so far for the first 5 months. Or 6 months.
Mark, can I ask the lost or the down revenue on the fast ferry route on the ION? Is it all attributed to cancellations because of mechanical or weather, or is also bookings down for those trips that are run?
We're up on the fast ferry, but we're also running the 5th trip this year that we didn't run last year for the second half of May. So it's kind of an offset. So it's more, without the trip would have been more neutral-ish.
Okay.
But we'll see in the month of June, we'll see those statistics coming up. On the operating expense side, we're under budget by $275,000. Maintenance expense was up $336,000. That was really the timing of the Vineyard Haven dock repairs, the realization of the expenses. Fuel for year to date, we are down $367,000 in fuel for the year and $84,000 in the month. So our hedges are coming in, even though other places are having fuel surcharges, our hedges are keeping us locked in. And some of the boats, either through trip consolidations or some of the boats are performing better than expected on the fuel burn as well. General expense was down. The primary driver of the operating expenses for the month was down $577,000. The majority of that is with the healthcare costs. So the realization we've got a refund back, which offset the additional costs that we thought we'd have.
So that's not timing. That's
a real. We received about $250,000 that we wouldn't from a prior period that we didn't expect. So that was a windfall, for lack of a better term, on the health insurance.
And what's the other 60% of it?
Claims. So the non-union insurance is claims, and then also some of it is people might not be choosing our health plan that we're budgeted for a higher percentage than what's actually doing it.
Okay.
But year to date, we are down $2.2 million in operating expenses, and like I said before, the healthcare cost is $600,000 of that $1.3 million so far. And then the other issues on the vessels, the governor is down $585,000. We didn't put it into dry dock expenses this year, but that we're only going to realize net 40% of that, 80% of that savings, or 20% of the savings, because it was covered by grants. So our grant revenue is down roughly $500,000, which would be the offset of those expenses. Cash statuses, for the month. You can see here, operations funds is at 27 million. We're a little bit behind where we thought it'd be in May, but that's offset by just timing of when we have the cash deposits, that we can see some variances in the other, like the other accounts that were a little bit ahead of budget where we thought we'd be. Advanced bookings, seeing how we're looking for the rest of the summer, and this was done, as of June 30th. This is capacity, is how much deck space is being used. Overall, on the Vineyard route, we're up 2.2% for future bookings, and on the Nantucket route, we're up 2.8%. We'll see if that translates to, as we get closer to the booking, to the day of travel, but these are the prime dates that are sold out well in advance.
Mark,
Yep.
is there a way to break out when you're talking about bookings? Is this a mix of both standard fare and excursion?
We go by the type of vehicle, like a car or a truck versus the excursions. I can see what we can do, but I don't want to promise that I can get the accurate information on
So
that.
we could be up 2.2%, but we could be up 2.2% with
Excur-
excursion
yes.
fares that don't cover cost of service.
Correct.
Okay.
And then for the quantity of reservations on the Vineyard route, we're up 1.6%, and the Nantucket route, we're up 1.8%. But when you factor in the previous on the slide on the capacity, what that shows is that the vehicles that we're up on are a little bit bigger. So it's more leaning towards the freight. So the average size of vehicle is bigger than last year as well. So passengers carried for the month of June. The Vineyard route was down 3.5%, while the Nantucket route was up 5.9%. And you can see year to date, the Vineyard's down 5.5% for passengers, while the Nantucket route is pretty flat, but up just over 1,100 passengers. Vehicles carried for the month of June, net between the two islands were pretty close to being even. We're down 3 vehicles. Nantucket was up 559 vehicles, and the Vineyard route was down 562 vehicles. One thing to note is that for the last, since June 22nd to the 30th, we saw a downtick compared to the year before, about 800 vehicles on the Vineyard route. So we're going to look to see if that's timing with the holiday calendar that came in. But in the Port Council meeting, the Vineyard run was actually up 270 vehicles through the first 3 weeks in June.
And I think some of the answer to Peter's question is in this chart.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not the answer I want.
Absolutely not the answer I wanted.
Yeah. So with that, I will take any questions regarding this, and we're starting as a pivot point, working on, we've received most of the information back for the budget. We're using this to make sure, putting together the 2027 operating budget that will be coming back in September to the Port Council Board for preliminary review.
Any questions from the board? I guess I'd like, I know that I really think we need, ahead of this schedule of talking about the next budget affairs, I think we really need to start talking about what projected fares may need to be starting next month. I think we need to have kind of in-depth conversation, because it seems to me the only reason we're really truly not behind budget is some of our expensive hasn't been realized. Otherwise, I'd be worried right now about discussing how are we going to make some shortfalls.
The categories that we'd like to see up are not the ones up from a revenue perspective, and then we've seen a downtrend in the last couple of years on that.
Yeah, and it seems to continue.
Yeah, we originally thought that after COVID that it would rebalance itself, but it's actually gone lower for the balance between the excursion fare and the standard fares that offset their costs.
Mark, as we get into what I see coming as an inevitable discussion on excursion fares and what they should be, it will also be helpful to get an understanding of the degree of elasticity in the regular full fares. You know, when those fares change, how do traffic patterns change?
Can do.
I guess the other thing I think we should be prepared to discuss once we get July numbers in is reforecasting what we think our revenue will be for the remainder of the year and expenses, and if we foresee a potential shortfall, what are we going to do?
Yep, in the first week of July, I believe you received the traffic stats already. In the first week of July, we were off a little bit compared to last year. Some of that was with the holiday falling on the fourth, excuse me, the fourth is always on the fourth. The fourth falling on a Saturday, you lost that Saturday traffic that you
Mhm.
normally have as compared to the Friday or third Wednesday. So that skewed it, but that's, at the end of the day, the numbers are gonna be where the numbers are.
Right. All right, anyone else? All right, thank you. I guess we'll move on to the general managers.
Thank you. First, I want to say welcome, Craig. Glad you're here and look forward to working with you going forward.
Thank you.
Please, I don't have any opening remarks at this point, but I'm going to turn it over to Joe Russis, our command center manager. He's going to talk about answering some of the questions you had from last month about retention.
Morning. Today, I'd like to provide an overview of vessel employee attrition and our workforce succession efforts. While the Steamship Authority has experienced a significant wave of retirements among senior staff officers beginning in 2022, proactive workforce planning and internal development programs have allowed us to successfully maintain operational readiness and build strong pipeline for future leaders. Our vessel workforce remains extremely stable. During the past year, only 9 current employees left the organization, resulting in an attrition rate around 3.3%. This reflects the dedication of our employees and effectiveness of our recruitment, training, and retention efforts. And on here you can see that we had, since July 1st of 25 to July 1st of 26, 275 employees, 9 left. That gives about 3%. Next slide. Several years before the retirement wave occurred, management identified the potential loss of experienced captains and pilots. In response, we established an AV to Mate program in 2017 to prepare for the next generation of vessel leadership. So on this slide, also 2022 to 2023, we lost 10 captains due to retirement and 5 pilots to retirement. Normally on a yearly, we would normally maybe lose 1 to 2 between captain and pilot. This year was a big year, so starting that training back in 17, we were able to have people ready to work up and move up into the ranks. Next slide. So on here, since 2023, we've had 10 internal promotions, somebody going from AB to mate and pilot, and then pilot to captain. We have external hires with captains and pilots license, captains and mates licenses with 17. So we have a total of 17. And we've added 17 to the pilot roster with the map. This demonstrates that our succession planning efforts are producing measurable results. We're going outside now. Well, everybody that's inside, we're trying to train as they want to come up through the ranks as well. Next slide. And this is with our unlicensed. We started this a few years ago in 2023 when we started sending ordinary seafarers to AV school, and we've had 51 go through the program. And we had the wipers, which is entry level for the engine room, go to the QMED class. We've sent 16. So it's a total of 67 employees have advanced through the company sponsored training plans and builds a stronger internal pipeline. And they're all working in these positions as of today. Next slide. Looking forward. The retirement wave, as anticipated several years ago, has largely materialized. Because we acted early, the Steamship Authority has successfully developed internal talent, maintained operational continuality, and positioned itself well for future workforce needs. We're not just retaining employees, we're actively developing the next generation of licensed and unlicensed mariners. Recruitment remains a priority as we prepare for future retirements and workforce transitions. We continue investment in training and succession planning to develop future captains, pilots, engineers, AVs, and oilers. We closely monitor workforce demographics and retirement eligibility to anticipate future staffing needs. Retention remains a key focus to preserve experience and institutional knowledge throughout the organization. Next slide. That was the end. That's it? My deck, yeah. Okay. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Any questions from the board? Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. So the next topic is our engineering and maintenance projects update. And we have Zach Lawrence, our Director of Engineering, will come up and provide an update on that. And you can talk a little bit, do a quick summary of the shipbuilding conference, ship repair conference we went to.
All right, morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
This is the engineering and maintenance projects update. Presently, we only have the Barnstable and dry dock. That was supposed to be executed between June 10th and July 15th. There was a small delay of the dry dock. So we didn't enter the dry dock until the 23rd of June. And as such, we're looking at completion on August 14th. They're making good progress though, being a couple weeks behind. And for the financial snapshot for the Barnstable project. The original contract price was 1.7 million. To date, total change orders and credits are $44,000 for a grand total of $1.75 million. Currently out on the street, we have the Sanctity spec, and that's due for bid opening on August 6th. The Woods Hole and the INO specs are currently under development and review and due this week to the procurement office. The Fairhaven Transfer Bridge replacement project specs are also under development and review.
Are we expecting any behavior change with respect to the Sanctity spec we have out on the street, or do we think it's going to be the same people responding the same way as they always seem to respond?
I believe it'll be the same,
Okay.
same folks that respond. In terms of the, so in June, Alex, Rob Munier, Will Langlois, one of our port engineers, and myself, we attended the Marine Law Ship Repair Conference. It was a panel-based conference. There were several speakers. Some of the items discussed were the rate of change in the industry that is ever increasing. The vessel service life extension was a topic of discussion, determining whether a new build versus conversion is more responsible. They talked about the new ship repair, which is focused on biofouling and clean hulls are good business. And that's becoming part of a more aggressive planned maintenance plan throughout the industry. A company called Fleet Zero discussed the commercial application of battery technology, and the Boston Harbor Shipyard spoke about their yard, current projects they've undertaken, and potential expansion opportunities for the future.
Any questions? My question from the conference, was there, I guess, any idea, development about how we could make our projects, I guess, more attractive for other shipbuilders to yards to bid on? Or yards that we hadn't thought of before?
So we did speak to a couple shipyards who had representatives there. One of the items that we have to work on is getting the packages out much earlier. Their schedules are booked much further out. And then, so one of the topics of discussion was, is that something that we can post, even if we don't have the package ready, but alert yards to our upcoming dry dock feature schedules. But getting them out earlier is going to be how we start to manage that.
And is that possible? Or are we exploring the possibility of that? I mean, obviously, we know the dry dock cycle.
Schedule, we know the schedule.
We know the schedule. Is there a way to?
It's a matter of.
The only hurdle with that is just the frequency that we perform our dry docks, and we're constantly always working on the next spec. So it's figuring out how to be more efficient to get the spec developed, reviewed, and into the procurement office faster.
So yeah, that's the next thing we need to work on is basically leapfrogging and trying to get ahead a couple specs. Because right now, I think the Sanctity is out right now, but she's due to go to dry dock in end of December.
Right.
So that's less than 6 months.
Right.
From when
We should probably be thinking, what,
we should talk maybe
18 to 12 to 18 months further out.
Yeah, that's
So-
what we need to get to.
So it seems to me after perhaps the hot wash on the 3 OSVs, that might be a good thing for the capital steering committee to focus on with you.
Jump in on, yes.
Of how to, I guess, standardize and plan better those spec packages so we can be more competitive.
Yeah. But then there's also general commentary there was, this is not unique to us.
Right.
there's a challenge. There are fewer repair yards out there to be had, and the demand on them is that much greater too. So which leads to you got to plan really far in advance to be able to get in there.
Mhm.
And it's a challenge with workers. These ship repair yards have challenge. I think the stat was for every 5 tradesmen that retire, we're only replacing with 2 or something like that. So it's hard for them to keep staff on board. So it's a nationwide problem.
It sounds like what we need to be thinking about is building a 10-year capital calendar that looks out for dry docking for everything over the next decade. So when we're putting something out to bid, we're not only putting out the next dry dock slot, but the one after that and the one after that.
As far ahead as we can get is better.
Yeah.
Trying to get as far ahead as we can.
And are there any obstacles, I guess, with the 30B requirements in doing that? Or
The question is how complete the package is when you're forecasting, putting a bid out to 18, 20 years, it's gonna be that add-on or do we put an allowance in for other items that may come? Say there's a dent that you have or something like that, putting those things into the specs. Or, those are things because we know the basic 10, 12 items on a dry dock, it's the
Right.
extra items.
Right.
So we put out those 12 items, get a placeholder. And then just make sure procurement wise and FTA, because this will be paid with grant monies that we're compliant. So we'll start doing the research on the completeness of the original bid versus the final bid spec, what we can and can't do.
anyone else? Questions? Comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. But Mark, begin the Woods Hole project, now I'll take over.
Okay, so thank you. So we're in operation now of the new terminal building in Woods Hole and also the utility building. Next slide, please. So this is just some various views of the terminal buildings on the inside, highlighting the screens and the seating. Next slide. This is back office where our terminal and break room is for our crews. Next slide. And this is slides of the bathrooms, washrooms in the new terminal building. So far, the operation's gone very well, very few. When you've done this amount of work, I think it's been very successful and how little rework that's had to be done. That's a big screen of it's going to be leveraged more in the future with other advertising, etc. Next slide. Some outside showing the awnings. We do have a few awning pieces which are due to arrive. It'll probably be sometime in August. Will get placed in. Next slide. So this is a Woods Hole utility building, which is now operational. Now that we have our employee parking, it is very convenient for our terminal employees to come in, park, and enter in, change right in the utility room. Next slide. This shows some pictures of the break room and we have a mini conference room there and also just some various other pictures. Locker room area, completed showers. Next, just some of the hallways and some other locations. Next. This is down, and this is really probably this is a great advantage to us right now. We have in the bottom area, we can go in with forklifts. We can bring supplies in and out. Our commissary items are in and out. And that's where our lost and found is as well. Next slide. And this is just some pictures of the utility building exterior. Bottom left is a new generator. And we're starting the curbside work, which will be in phase 3, but that just shows we've done some work out there. Next slide. So the budget for the Woods Hole construction project is 39.1 million, and the current estimate is 38.2 million. We're slightly under, and with that, I take any questions.
Any questions from the board? All right, thank you.
You're the next.
I didn't have another presentation. What are you looking for?
That was the drawings of the curb cut.
Okay, yeah.
So right now, our next phase is we're looking to split up the next phase, and we want to declare the old terminal building as surplus and we're looking to get estimates of if it's worth keeping, dismantling it and selling it to somebody, or if it's just something that needs to be demolished. That's gonna be the next phase. We want to get rid of that old terminal building and the trailers there to open up that space. And once we've done that, then since we're still working on the curb cut, there's still gonna be ways before we can put the RFP out to do the last phase, all the site work done. But currently, this is what we've submitted to Falmouth DPW for the curb cut. We've been working with them on the curb cut there on the north side of the terminal. We've reduced the width of the exit ramp there on the upper left side of the drawing there. It's a little hard to read from here, but we've been asked by DPW to limit the number of trucks, or actually stop sending out any freight trucks out that road and use it only for passenger vehicles. So we've redesigned the curb cut to accommodate that, to make it a little bit narrower, to add some crosswalks and stop signs. We're working with them. We've submit this last week. I think we submitted it to them, so we're waiting to hear back from them on this. Once we've done that approval process with them, the next step will be go to the Traffic Advisory Committee in Falmouth and to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Coalition Committee to talk to them about it, and then it would go to the Select Board. So there's still a ways to go. This is still a draft. This is the current draft that we're working off of. Allison and I attended the Traffic Advisory Committee meeting yesterday morning, and they've requested to put some stop signs up now on the exit onto Railroad Avenue, which we're going to do. Like I said, at one point there were stop signs there. During the construction, they went away, so we've actually already identified that a couple weeks ago. Bridget, our safety manager, she had already identified that, so that's in the process of being done. We're also on the southeastern corner of the property where we exit from Cowdery Road onto Crane Street. We've proposed to put a stop sign or a yield sign there. We're going to meet with Falmouth PD and Falmouth DPW on Friday to talk about that signage that's going to go in, and we want to do that now. So this is where we are right now, and we had some feedback from the public about the signage. They're very supportive of that. Anything we can do to kind of reduce the speed of traffic going through Woods Hole and going across the Crane Street Bridge will be big. We're working closely with Falmouth PD. They now have a uniformed officer down there most of the day, and he's going to be more involved with managing traffic flow coming out onto Railroad Avenue and also watching what's going on the Crane Street Bridge. I've been contacting Falmouth PD whenever we see people crossing the double line, going across the bridge, and trying to really reduce that, and trying to protect people when they're coming to and from the terminal.
Any questions from the board? Thank you.
Oh, and I'll say one last thing on the terminal building itself. We have had, and this is something we got to prepare a staff summary to you, and I'm not sure maybe it goes to the capital planning committee, or capital project committee. We had been approached by numerous organizations in Woods Hole to put some display items in the terminal building. One's a museum piece, one's a piano. We've also talking to Woods Hole about putting some educational material in there. And we're trying to finalize all that, and we'll bring that back to the Port Council and to the board here shortly.
Great. All right, next item.
Next item is the update on our reservation system, Mark.
Okay, good morning again. So the True North status as of today. We've had the policy, phase 3 is drafted. We'll be bringing that to the IT executive committee and then to town halls and shipping meetings. We had IDEA, our software supplier, on site last week. 2 representatives, very productive week. When you have them on site, and you just get problems solved so much quicker. And been an ongoing program. We'll be having them back again next month. We've received our 1.4 from IDEA. We're in testing right now, so upcoming key events, finalized website launch plan, policy phase 3, summer or fall, our 1.4 testing, which is ongoing, finalized training plan, beta group, July 28th, we are meeting with the beta group. Upcoming business decisions and process procurement, infrastructure, policy phase 3, refined data migration plan, terminal ops flow, testing, functional and performance testing, identify training resources and key risks and issues, defining go live plan B, C, and D, resource capacity, IT and operations, current policies unclear, undocumented, policy versus configuration, change fatigue and staff training. We'll be talking a lot more in detail at our next IT executive meeting coming up. And from our dashboard, we've kept this in red because we get some late deliveries from IDEA for some of the testing. So we're testing our 1.4 right now, and I'd like to be a little bit further ahead on that and get that back into yellow, but testing is very important for the success of the launch. We should have more of an update of the results of 1.4 as the IT executive committee meeting coming up. The other customer communication and training, we're interviewing various training companies, and we have some results that we'll be sharing with the IT executive committee meeting later this month. So with that, I'll take any questions. Before we go there, I just wanted to touch on the next slide. We had a group of our, we had Allison Fletcher, Stephen Coleman, and Todd Innes of Gibbous attend CalMac over in Scotland. Very fruitful meeting. The information, CalMac has the same software system, they're just implemented, and lessons learned they were fantastic in bringing around to the terminal, showing how they implemented their training programs, they're sharing materials. Excellent program, very highly recommend. It was very worthwhile to send the people over to visit. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I've got a few. They're all sort of nested together. So looking at the dashboard comparison between the June board meeting and this board meeting, it looks like a few items have gone green to yellow, one has gone green to red, and and it looks like one has gone yellow to red. I won't say that this is very worrisome, but it is concerning. Can you speak a little bit about particularly launch readiness and testing and why they have downgraded in status and raised concerns?
Well, the testing, as I mentioned, we had a late release of the
1.5.
1.5.
So but we are presently testing on 1.4, is that correct?
1.4.
So we could go live on 1.4 if we had to go live on 1.4, given the work we've done to date.
No, we have to get through 1.5.
Okay.
They roll out various aspects, and Mark, feel free to jump in, but we got some late rollouts from IDEA.
Okay.
That's why we went to red. We want this to be something that the board can see in real time. And I expect that to go back to yellow. There'll be other items in there that'll go to red even.
Right.
So we're gonna talk in more detail at the IT executive committee meetings, and I think the dashboard is very good. For instance, customer communication training. We haven't received any training materials from IDEA yet, which we expect to get sometime late August. But we have to have the training team in place, how we're gonna do it. That's part of the reason we've reached out to BC Ferries and to CalMac as to how did you do it? Show us how you did your training programs. That's why that was high value in doing that.
So presumably we're training on 1.5.
Yes, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, so the 1.4, 1.5 is not a software release, it's what's in that testing module.
Right.
So it's not a complete, so for instance, I think 1.5 has the B2B and the customer charge accounts, which wasn't available 1.4, 1.3. So you have to wait for all the way to 1.5, 1.6 to come out before we can launch.
And so the question is, I noticed that it says the 1.5 release is to be determined. When are we thinking it's going to happen?
I think that's going to be the end of the month. Tom?
Yeah, the 1.5 release is scheduled for July 31st.
Okay,
We've
so
been
that's
working to to confirm with the vendor. And so because they have not confirmed that it'll happen on that date, the 2 previous releases were delayed a week. And so we are expecting that will be delayed a week.
Right, but not a month.
The vendor was trying to catch up, so.
So the important underscore here is that 1.5 should be out and in place and in our hands early enough so it doesn't threaten August training requirements.
Correct. I'd just like to add in that in the testing, we have not had the success rate that we have anticipated. So although we've gone through our 1.1 through our 0.4, we did not get the results. We keep retesting and hopefully it's going to get to a point where we're satisfactory with the results. We're not there yet. That's
Right.
why we've highlighted that red. We have a lot of work to do, and DIA has a lot of work to do.
I guess where are we then, if I may,
Please.
in terms of final development of our product? I mean, how many more releases are we anticipating, and when will we be finished with the development side of this project?
That's going to be at the end of August, but it's also going to be with successful testing.
But the current schedule of launch is dependent upon development of our software as it's customized has to be finished by August 31st. Everything's dependent upon that?
Yeah, in order to go live with confidence in as the board had voted November 18th with the internal go live for the shippers, we need to have all development done by the end of August so that we can have sufficient time for final integration testing, final performance testing, and know that we're 90 days out, we're ready to go live. We were expecting, as Mark has alluded to, with 1.4, we were expecting something much closer to a golden copy, so we're testing that. We believe that there'll be some additional things that'll need to be released in August to get there. And so we're working closely with the vendor and closely on site last week to make that deadline.
So on August 25th at the IT Executive Steering Committee meeting, you should be able to present to the steering committee if we are go, no go for the November 18th.
Yes. Yeah. That'll be when we need to really look at it and say, okay, are we at a place where we're going to have to start making as always with a project like this, make the decisions of, okay, can we live without anything that is loose ends that still need to be tied?
Where you mentioned that the prior release packets hadn't achieved, or we hadn't gotten to where we hoped to get to with each of them. Where's the delta? Where are these gaps occurring? Like what are the issues that aren't lining up the way we thought they would line up?
So there's some of the testing is the way we've been framing it is we do the testing and then we'll identify is it a fail in the testing, or is it blocked by functionality on the IDEA side, or is it blocked by a configuration issue on the SSA side?
Mm-hmm.
Going into so in the last part of the reason for the change in the last 30 days was that there were a number of issues that we understood were being blocked by the configuration. And so there's something called the master data, which is a configuration update. We had understood that a number of the things that were being blocked in terms of testing would be unblocked by an update to the master data. We updated the master data, and that revealed some additional blockers, and now we're trying to work through those.
Okay.
For the next week's IT Executive Steering Committee,
Yes.
Could we actually then go through the results of that testing, where we saw the failures and where we are in resolving?
Yes.
Just like to add in that this is a normal process. Speaking with BC Ferries, they went through the same, their advice to me was get as much testing as you can done. Testing is gonna be what's gonna give us the confidence in going forward for the releases. But this is a normal process. Adia's been late with some things. We'd like to be a little bit further. But we can have some updates, slides for the IT exec on the testing itself, so you can see the specifics.
Right.
One last question, and I'm sorry for sucking all the oxygen out of the room. Website is marked as yellow, and there are some additions in the status area, including phase 3 scope of work. So what's happening with the website? Not that everybody doesn't already have new website fatigue, but I'm gonna dive right in.
Okay, so
Yeah, so the team is still finalizing the website release and launch plan. As has come up several times, navigating from a user perspective and from a technical perspective, when do we go with the new website versus stay with the old website, and making sure that we're mapping the content that people are looking for.
Right.
And so the team is still working through that exact phasing, and there's an outstanding scope of work for some of that with the Intrasystems team that has been helping with the website.
And is the scope of work envisioned in this comment just geared around linking IDEA to the new website? Are we talking about API and formatting, or are we talking about the website not being finished yet and it's got to get to the finish line and linked into the new reservation system?
It's making sure that everything's tied together and the timing of it.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm done.
Anyone else?
So there's one more part to this is, we want to suspend gift card sales and markets.
So part of the plan is we have a massive amount of data migration coming in, like outstanding tickets, profiles, which will now be accounts. And part of that is gift cards. And currently, in the packet, there's a write-up about the gift cards. We're asking to temporarily suspend the new gift card sales from August 1st through November. We expect gift card sales to go on sale starting December 1st. Customers are still going to be able to redeem their existing gift cards. So if you have a gift card, you're still going to be using it like nothing happens. We just don't want to add more data that we're going to have to vet, proof, and migrate over. Last year, during this period of August through November, we sold 247 gift cards with a value of $39,000. That account, we sold a total of 1,000 gift cards last year. So it's about 24.7%. Conversely, in December, we sold 390 gift cards for $63,000. So December is bigger than all those months combined. So Sean and his team are going to come up with robust communications plans, letting customers know how they can eventually, if they wanted to convert the physical gift cards into the IDEA system, how they're going to do it. In the meantime, you can still go to the terminal and use it and redeem them. So we're asking for a temporary suspension to help migrate data over.
So what you're saying is the message to my mother-in-law and those similarly inclined who buy gift cards in the fall to use as holiday presents is wait until December 1st.
Either buy it before August 1st or wait till December 1st.
Any questions from the board? I have one question on the staff summary, and if someone submits a motion, will it require board approval again to begin sales of gift cards, or can we, or I'm asking, I guess, if a board member makes a motion to adopt this, that we also approve the reissuance of gift cards so that we don't have to vote on it again?
The reissuance of gift cards as soon as possible, as soon as they are available in the IDEA system.
All right, so that's what you're asking?
Yes.
All right. I just don't want to have to address this twice if we don't have to.
Nope.
All right. So is there a motion to temporarily suspend gift card sales beginning, what's the date?
August 1.
August 1st. and to resume and authorize the authority to resume sales once it's in the ADIA system.
Do I really have to do it? All right, I'll do it. So moved.
Is there a second? I need someone virtually to. All right, thank you, Mr. Jones. All right, any further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Jones is an aye.
Gavin, aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Randy, aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, unanimous.
Okay, the last item on the general manager's agenda is we want to just let you know about a media campaign that we're doing for Pause. Is there more to add to this, Sean?
No, I put it up on the screen, just for something lighter, to discuss, but we've had numerous requests over the years for, notices to pet owners about taking their dogs out on the decks on a warm sunny day and how hot the decks get. Seems like it would be, common knowledge, but, apparently not. So we are starting this, campaign for, letting, pet owners know that steel decks can get hot, to make sure that your pets are safe and sound inside the cabin. So we do have some posters and also some stickers that we've already started to deploy on the vessels. So we're gonna fully launch that yet this week to help keep pooch feet safe. And that is the end of it. That is the easy part of this, so.
I'll just tack on to that as far as media campaigns go. This is a good one, but we were just talking before the meeting started that we all know that on Martha's Vineyard there are challenges with ticks, and we've been approached by a number of people, and Ted has been approached by a number of people on the island for us to do some kind of outreach about it. And we do have some posters from the Martha Vineyard Hospital, and we're going to start putting those out on the boats. Try to get them on each boat. Just what to do if you've been bitten by a tick, basically. So we will follow guidance that we get from Martha's Vineyard Health, since we're not health professionals ourselves, but if they provide us with documentation, we'll put it up and just let the public know what's going on.
And Alex, just to clarify, this is the graphic that was kind of jointly put together by the TIC collaborative, the hospital, the county health board. We can get those on the boats this week, next week.
Yeah, we already have posters up on a few of the boats. Because it's July, we didn't have a ton of poster space, so I'm asking my staff to print them out on 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, and laminate them, at least get them posted next to like the purser's offices in a prominent location.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
All right.
That's the end of the general manager's report this time.
All right, I guess we're ready to move on to old and new business. Doing well, it's 11 a.m.
All right, let's see how quickly we can get through this. The first item is the proposed license agreement for freight transportation between New Bedford and Nantucket with offshore tug transportation. And I'm pleased to say that we have agreement in principle with Robert B. Hour, and we just have to finalize the license itself and get it all signed. But we've presented our current draft to them, and like I said, we have an agreement in principle. We just have to fine tune it and get all the ducks in a row. Robert B. Hour is here. I don't know if you guys want to say anything at this time. You don't have to. It's been a long go, but. Thank you. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It'll be an interesting test to see how it goes, and hopefully it'll be wildly successful. Does the board have any questions on that?
Any questions from the board?
Glad it's done.
Yes. Craig, we'll get you all that any other information you want besides what's in the packet. We can fill you in on that. And I'm sure Gordon can fill you in on everything on the New Bedford side.
Sure. I was able to read the attachments that were provided with the lease. I think it's a great opportunity for the island and New Bedford to, create some economic opportunity for both, relieve some of the pressure coming from the islands, and also, an economic opportunity for the city of New Bedford, hoping that there's more opportunity to create more opportunity between, New Bedford and the islands as well. So congratulations. I came in obviously on the tail end of that. So thank everybody for all the work that you put in to make that happen. Looking forward to, I'm sorry, the rep from Martha's Vineyard indicated. Glad it's done, and hopefully it's wildly successful. Absolutely.
Craig, you will be delighted to know that Martha's Vineyard would love to create more economic opportunity for the city of New Bedford.
That's fantastic.
As well as Falmouth.
It's been a long-standing history between the communities. I previously lived in a whaling captain home here in New Bedford, 1820, and it was owned by Captain Constant Norton. I traced them all the way back to the vineyard. Norton family on the vineyard, obviously, I think a pretty prominent Norton Point and prominent family there. So it's been that house it's 250 years, right? So hopefully we can re-engage and continue to talk and explore these opportunities.
We do need the board to vote to make this a reality. And Craig, would you like the privilege of making the motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the license between Nantucket and the city of New Bedford for the license for Robert War.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes. Yep.
Just a clarifying point. Is this subject to the terms and conditions as outlined in the staff summary?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you for that point of clarification. All right. So it's as put forth in the staff summary, and its attachments to the motion is and been seconded to approve the request for license from Robert Yauer. Roll call vote.
Aye.
Gavin, aye.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Randy, aye.
All right. It's been moved and approved.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
It's offshore traffic transportation.
Oh, offshore.
That's what's in the license, so you're good at it.
It's we approved the staff summary, so
Yes.
But once again, thank you for being exact.
The next item is just want to confirm the meeting schedule for the Capital Projects Committee and the Governance Committee. The Capital Projects Committee is due to meet the second Tuesday every month and will commence with the August 11th meeting at 10 a.m. The Governance Committee meeting will be the third Thursday of every month and will commence with the August 20th meeting. And there's no vote there. That's just informational sake only. And I don't know if you want to talk about if Craig wants to join on those meetings.
Yeah, I guess we can talk offline, Craig, about the opportunity to join one of the three soon-to-be standing committees of the created by the board. It's
Sure.
board council makes.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, I would take a little background on each of the boards to get a better understanding as to where my skill set would fit to help. We could do that offline. It makes sense.
Yep.
Sure.
That makes sense. Thanks. All right.
Next item is we want to just give an update on early truck monitoring and down Woods Hole Terminal. We have Allison Fletcher is here. You can talk about it as you talked about the Port Council meeting last month. Or earlier this month, sorry.
Sorry. Work emails.
Mhm.
So much fun. Said work emails, so much fun. No. Lots of them. In the packet? Alright, good afternoon. You said it was now, right?
Still fine.
Still morning, fine, good morning.
Not ahead of ourselves.
At this point. So as you all know, we have been tracking early arrivals for our shippers. We've been doing this for quite a few years now. I believe it began in the summer of 2020. Every schedule change, we send out a letter to all of our shippers on the vineyard route explaining to them when they can show up. for the first early morning boats, specifically in the summer, the 5:30, the 6, 6:35, and the 7. With the 2026 schedule starting on May 14th, we continued this process. And in your packets are copies of the most recent shipper notification letter as an example of the emails that were sent out to our shippers. And who has arrived 2 minutes or more early. So if a shipper arrives at the terminal at within 2 minutes of their arrival time, they get sent a letter to inform them that they've showed up too early and that we are tracking this and they potentially could lose reservations and or be placed on later boats. As of June 29th, we have identified 728 trucks arriving between 4:30 and 6 a.m. Of those, 15 were identified as Diesel Direct. That's the fuel company that services our boats. And 44 were identified as Centerplate, and those were delivering stores to our concessions on the boats. At the end of May, it was discovered that a timestamp of the camera system had been inaccurate. This was subsequently verified and corrected. Of the 728 trucks identified, 24 shippers were determined to have arrived early, with a total of 78 occurrences of early arrival, with an average of 5.21 minutes. Each of us have received email notifications. After the times were adjusted to take into account the camera timestamp error, the total number of shippers with the early occurrence dropped to 20, and the total number of early arrivals reduced to 44, with an average of 6.48 minutes.
So was our timestamp showing an earlier time than the actual time?
Yeah, it was fast, so.
Okay.
And the only reason why it came to my attention was because one of our shippers he had multiple trucks in the 5:30 and was getting multiples of these emails. And he has camera with GPS and all that, was able to send me screenshots. So we were able to work with IT and verify that it was inaccurate and able to make those corrections. It should also be stated that in the shippers letters that go out to our shippers every schedule, it reminds our shippers about our idling policy, as well as trying to reduce their jake braking and speeding on Woods Hole Road and other surrounding streets. Does anyone have any questions?
In reading the letter that goes out to shippers.
Yep.
There's a statement, trucks that arrive at the Woods Hole terminal earlier than the above times will not be allowed to travel on standby that day. Why would they need to travel on standby that day? They're already there for the boat.
Some of them are showing up earlier. They have a reservation later on in the day.
So they're just showing up at 5 a.m. and hoping to hop on a boat after 7?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I'm sorry, if I had to get up that early, I'm staying in bed, but that's just me.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, we will have people have like a 9:30 or an 8:15, and they will show up as early as possible to try to get on an earlier boat.
Right.
Any questions? I guess, how has this been received by the shippers?
Fairly well. There are a couple of shippers that I have identified that I will at some point this week speak with Alex about. And they are 2 prominent shippers that we may have to put a little bit of fear in them. And I believe one of those shippers might be at the truckers meeting this afternoon, so it might be easier just to deal with them then.
Yeah, just do it face to face.
At least with one of them.
Yeah.
I don't think the other one will show up. That's okay.
Well, we have seen a number of truckers, once they get it, they corral their drivers and they're trying to improve their performance or
And most of them that I'm getting that are early, that are normal shippers, it's usually within 2 or 3 minutes. They still get the letter because that's our policy, but they're 2 or 3 minutes. The ones that are showing up 10, 15 minutes early, those are, it seems to be our one-offs or our third-party shippers that may not be getting these letters because they don't operate in our bulk system, so they're not gonna get this letter. Or it's the people that they're hauling for didn't share the letter with them.
So how can we communicate these requirements to every shipper that purchases a reservation so they get it with the ticket?
If they're purchasing it through the trucks department, they can easily be sending this to them as well. But a lot of times, some of these smaller companies, they're going through our call center side.
Right.
And
But they're getting something in email, aren't they?
They're getting a confirmation, yes.
So I mean, this could just as easily become boilerplate language at the bottom of every single confirmation email, the same way that it could be on passenger, or excuse me, on consumer car reservations where we say, don't show up more than 2 boats ahead of your boat.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we can definitely sit down. I think I'd have to sit down with Sean, correct, on, yep.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like it would alleviate a lot of the pressure off of you and as well as from the call center.
Yeah, and it's just, it's one of those things too, it's just a matter of getting people to read.
Yeah.
And we also will hand these out, the traffic booth usually has a stack of these, and we'll physically hand it to the person, like, listen, if you come back, follow this policy,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can't make somebody read the email we send them, but the very least we can do is give them the information with the first touch.
Absolutely. Okay. Like I said, when they go through our trucks department, they are being notified. It's just when they go to the call center, that's unfortunately a different situation, so.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is just to inform you, let you know again, we did get a petition about our 2027 schedules, particularly about the 5:30 boats coming out of Woods Hole during the summertime and the 5:30 AM boat coming out of Vineyard Haven that's currently scheduled throughout the year, tentatively in the winter and spring, and then in the early winter again at the end of the year. We had that hearing a couple weeks ago now. It was fairly well attended. I think it was about 80 people on the call. Terry, you can correct me if that's wrong.
Yeah,
It was about 80 people.
Yeah.
Last about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Definitely is a wide ranging concerns, not just about the petition itself was particularly about freight trucks on both boats, not necessarily saying that we should cancel the 5:30 boat, but it was saying we should not have any freight on either vessel. So we're taking all that information, and as we do, I guess every year we've done for a number of years now, is we're gonna put together a report. What we are gonna take is something I did say on the call, that we're taking a serious look at the 5:30. When is it important? How important is it for freight? What can we do to minimize trucks or limit trucks on those things? So we are gonna take a look at that. And I think we have a schedule on when we have to bring that report back out again, so that we will bring that to the board as well before we send it out. And I did speak at the Falmouth Select Board, because we had a couple select board members on the call. And I told them that once we have the report, I would come back to the select board to present it to them as well.
Will the transcript and video of the hearing be available before the 15A report is?
The hearing video is already on our YouTube page,
Okay.
and we can forward the transcript to you as well.
If you could forward that to all the
Mhm.
board members and port council, that would be great. Any questions, comments? It's 11:13, moving on.
Okay. What's next? The next time we have, we're gonna follow up on the conversation we had at the last board meeting about the cost of living increase. You asked Janice to go back and get verification or get comparison what's going on here on the Cape as opposed to what's happening nationwide as far as cost of living increases. And Janice did some research on that.
Good morning, everyone. So as Alex indicated, at last month's meeting, I was asked to go out to some of our neighboring communities just to get an idea of what other towns are doing with regard to cost of living. So I was able to visit or to speak with human resource representatives from several of the towns. And I reached out to 2 private employers as well, just to get a better understanding of where we are, if we're aligned with other communities, which we are, which was the good news. So the information that I obtained, it is consistent, and the annual cost of living adjustments generally within these towns are between 2% and 3%, which is consistent with the Steamship. The private organizations that I reached out to one on the Hyannis end and one on the Falmouth end. And those organizations did not provide necessarily the cost of living, but they just adjusted any of the market considerations into their overall performance evaluation, which is
That's strange.
Yeah, so now we got put in a different room or?
I don't know. I think something must have happened there.
It's the joys of technology. Somebody probably hit a cord or something.
Yeah.
Well, Craig, welcome aboard.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to talking to you.
You as well. Got sworn in yesterday. So trying to get up to speed, as quickly as possible.
It takes a while.
Oh, yeah. I've been on, ironically, I just got a message from Gordon Carty said, the public is still here and see you. Just so.
Yeah,
Oh.
I just texted Sean and Sean said they're working on it, so I'm not sure what that means, but something happened there.
Yeah. I don't know, if I want to say, I don't know if they can hear me too.
Well, we can.
Yeah, good.
I would assume the public can hear us, yes.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. We're just having technical problems here at Oak Bluffs. We're working on it, so stand by.
Thank you.
All right, I'm out. I just, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll reach you back out.
All right, calling the meeting back in order, please. I want you to take your seats. Rob, what was the last thing you heard from us?
Blah, 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 blah.
And prior to that?
Too specific.
It cut off like in mid-sentence as as Janice was finishing her explanation.
All right. Okay, so we didn't, so at item 5E under old and new business is when we pause. All right.
Correct.
All right.
According to my notes, Ted asked, when was the last time we did a salary survey? And during Janice's answer is when I got notified that we were frozen, so.
Right, so it's been a couple of years since we've used the Associated Industries of Massachusetts salary data, but I frequently partner with salary.com, and they have a compensation analyst software that I'm able to communicate back and forth with. So I'm relatively confident that our recruiting efforts for our non-exempt employees, salaries really, it has not been an issue.
Okay. And you're comfortable that our salary ranges are competitive with the job, but also considering the cost of living differences in the region.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
So the next item we have is having another trial period for diesel RD99, which is a alternative fuel option. We did this last year, as I understand, and there was limited supply, or there wasn't supply earlier this year, so we weren't able to do it. But now Mark has identified that there is supply now available, and so we'd like to do that trial period again, purchasing up to 200,000 gallons of RD99 for the Island Home. And the Island Home is really the target vessel, because each time she starts up from port, you can definitely have a very noticeable plume of smoke coming out of her. So she's the first boat we want to try this fuel alternative again. We're working with Mark Rozum and Mark Amundsen. It's something we can do. It's something we can pull off for this year. We bring it to the board because it's not budgeted currently, and there's going to be an additional charge of up to $165,000 to be able to do this pilot program. We will look at it again as a pilot program for next year again. But if we did it for the entire year, I believe it's somewhere close to $4 million additional cost.
Yeah, 4 million. Yeah, about 3.4 million.
Because it's 85 cents a gallon, or 82.5 cents a gallon additional cost over what we currently pay for diesel.
Yeah, just like to add in, last year's, we were advised early that Global was no longer stocking this out of Providence. So as I reported to the board, it was no longer available. Thanks to some people, actually, Margaret Henneman was pointed out there may be other ways, some other suppliers. So we work with Diesel Direct. So the way we get this in is by rail car up to Haverhill, Mass. And then we would truck it down by Diesel Direct trucks. From an operational point of view, we do burn cleaner with the RD99. The sulfur, looking at the lab results, is generally with ultra low sulfur diesel about 12 parts per million. This gets us down into the 3 parts per million. It burns better. We'd like to continue doing this for August 1st to December 31st at a charge of $165,000, but we really would think it's worthwhile trying again.
This is almost certainly a question for Mark and Mark. What's the go forward usable lifespan of the Island Home? How many more years do you think we have this boat?
I think that we have the Island Home has been very well maintained. I think we'll be coming up as part of the capital committee is looking at a midlife period. I would say we're probably looking at a 20 to 25 year period for the Island Home. Certainly at a midlife, would be looking at doing a re-engine, perhaps to tier 4.
That's where I was going, was like, are we, at what point does it make sense looking at re-engineering and solving the emissions problem rather than spending money trying to reduce the emissions on a yearly basis?
Well, I think that's, again, part of the capital program that we would be proposing that at a midlife of the vessel, which should be sometime, I would say in the next 5 to 10 years, we'd be looking at that. But we've had discussion with, similar with EMD as the engine manufacturer about tier 4, which they do make. So that it's logical, but it's got to be in the strategic plan.
Yeah.
And Ted, if I may, this would be an potentially attractive, or was previously an attractive project to potentially go for grants on the no or low emissions, as long as they have the marine facilities available for the grant. So once we get the specs, then we can package it, and then every time we see an eligible grant, we will be applying for that upgrade for the engine.
Okay.
But that does lead to, it's similar to what Zach was talking about earlier with, is do you want to build a new boat, or do you want to extend the life of the current boats?
Right.
And that's give me a question for the capital projects committee.
Yeah.
Is this a fuel that would benefit our other vessels lowering their, and I guess what's the delta on that?
Yes, it would be.
Yeah, I would say in California, it's mandated, so all marine vessels have to use RD99. That's one of the challenges why it's hard to get, because there's limited supply, because it is a manufactured fuel, and California subsidizes the cost of it there, so it's the same price as marine diesel fuel out in California. So they're sucking up all the supply literally. The hope is that because there is such an increasing demand, and Staten Island Ferry uses it, and since there is a growing demand, hopefully there will be more manufacturing available. So lost supply and demand. But yeah, it would benefit the entire fleet, but that's gonna be a big delta.
I guess I'd like to see, I'm in favor of continuing the pilot, but I would like to see for next year's proposed budget, what the cost would be to adopt this amongst all our vessels, or just continuing at least with the island home, and then, do we explore paying for it via surcharge rather than a fare increase?
Yeah, so we hedge about 3.43 million gallons of fuel. So using that, say 80 cents on that, you'll get about 2.6 million for R99 roughly, quick math. But one of the headwinds we're also facing for next year's budget, is everyone's seeing, is the price of fuel. Our hedges right now, we're 58% hedged for 27, are about 90 cents, 80 to 90 cents more than what we were this year. Plus the cost to get those hedges were more, and the actual price is more. So that's going to be, whether we have R99 or not, we're going to see an impact on fuel in next year's budget. But yes, we'll get you that calculation. We could do it per boat.
Yeah.
So this the vessel, and there's so many gallons of burns, and this is what the cost would. But the big thing we would need to be able to hedge is a firm increment over the price of ULSD. So if we're saying it's that plus a firm increment, then I can hedge it. If it's on its own, then I can't hedge it, because then it would be speculative.
But increasing our fuel mix by the percentage of HVO we're using should actually stabilize our exposure to market volatility on the petroleum side, shouldn't it?
They're putting this off of a fixed increment over at ULSD.
Okay.
So whatever that
It's
goes.
it's the whole fuel industry is cost plus. Why wouldn't this be?
Yeah, but that allows us to hedge.
Right.
That's the plus and the minus on that. And then for transparency, last year from August through December, the island home burned about 220,000 gallons. So this quite doesn't get us all the way through that time period. It's close. So the question is, if we go to diesel direct, is it a firm 200, or would the board approve the firm increment from August to December? It's about a $20,000 gallon or a $17,000 difference roughly. Just for transparency.
I guess why isn't the staff summary presenting it like that and versus coming short?
What I got from the quote was a firm delivery price for Mark of 200,000 gallons at that price. That's why the staff summary was written up that way.
Okay.
And then when I referenced that to what we actually used, I want to make sure that everyone has the correct information to make.
Understood. Okay. Makes sense. Any other questions, discussion from the board?
Yeah, up here in the peanut gallery.
Yes.
Hey, Mark. Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Oh, okay. Quick question on the smoking. Is that an injector problem or a fuel filter problem, or is it excessive or is it natural? What's the answer on that?
Okay, so with the EMD engines, and we did bring in EMD post, I think it was 2 springs ago to check all the timing, check the engine itself. But this is what's considered turbocharger lag. You use your exhaust temperature and exhaust energy to turn the turbocharger. There's a slight lag period until the turbo gets up to its operating speed and pressure. So it's a momentary thing, but it's certainly visible. And when we used it during specifically on the island home, you could see a difference during that lag period. That's why we like using it. It burns more efficiently during that period.
What I'm getting at is that this is actually quite normal.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not as pronounced on our other vessels, but anytime a diesel engine is designed to be 100% efficient at one speed and load, and during the ramp up periods, it's varied. You know, your turbocharger pressure varies during that time period and becomes less efficient. So we believe that on the island home, it would like to try this again.
Any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Go. You did, Ms. Jones?
I just said thank you.
Oh, okay. Is there a motion to approve the staff request for the RD 99 pilot?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Espinola, aye.
Gavin, aye.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Randy, aye.
All right. Pilot resumes.
You know, if we keep doing it every year, it's not a pilot anymore.
It's a pilot as long as we say it's a pilot.
Okay, so the last item before the item that everybody's been waiting for is discussion of our training development manager that we want to post out. It's something we've been talking about off and on for a couple of months now, but in the last couple of weeks, I've had conversations with a number of passengers and parents of passengers, and just realizing that there's more we can do as far as the care and comfort of our passengers and as far as customer service. And right now, we really focus training twice a year, and I think it's critical for us to be training throughout the year. And this is why I want to get this. I was worried about budgetary reasons, but it's going to take us a couple of months to get this, get the job posted, get the job filled, do all the interviews. So I'd like to get it out there and get somebody on board as quickly as we can, because training is just such a critical thing for an organization the size that we have. And with 700 employees, we really should have a training department, not just one person. But I'm going to start with one person. So I think the staff summary should be in your packets.
The position description, I guess my question, is this procedurally, is this something that requires the vote of the board? Because it's outside of
that grade, the grade is higher. Anything below the old grade 10 could create. Anything above that would need a board approval.
Right.
Okay.
I have one observation that is probably also a nested suggestion. I noticed that multilingual capabilities are not in the requirements. You might want to seriously consider getting somebody with fluency in Brazilian Portuguese.
Okay. Yes, that's like good. In light of the last couple of conversations I've had, yeah, that would be important to have.
And the entire region runs on that community.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
I think it's
Nested suggestions?
I think it's a fantastic idea, and I think it's critical to the changes that we're all looking to make.
Is the idea that this position will be within the Human Resource Department?
At this point, yes, so we're our director of human resources.
Okay.
And then I'll obviously be working closely with Janice to roll it out and get it incorporated into everything. And, you know, it'll partner with Joe as well because he does a lot of the chipboard training.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I'd move it forward.
All right, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Espinola, aye.
Gavin, aye.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Randy, aye.
All right, moved and approved. I guess now we're ready to move to public comment.
Yeah, let's go to public comment.
Hey.
All right, the next door item is the general manager's review.
Well, as you know, the Port Council had presented their evaluations to Alex earlier this month, so now we're asking the board to do the same. So I've received performance evaluations, so as we've done in the past, we'll do these independently, so whoever chooses to go first, please.
And I'd just like to give some context why we're reviewing Alex after 6 months. And that is because when we negotiated him coming on board in his initial contract, we agreed to give him a 6-month review. And as you see later, we're going into executive session to discuss his compensation at the 6-month mark. So.
I'm happy to go first.
All right, please do.
So what I've found, Alex, is that probably your most visible positive attribute is your ability to reprioritize quickly while coming back to the core task. The job is responding to fires, but it's also running a $160 million steamship line. And you know, while Falmouth and other communities have their own issues, I suspect that Nantucket and the Vineyard tend to be the loudest fires from time to time and are very much one-offs. But I think the approach that you have taken thus far, at least in my experience since my appointment in March, I'm very confident that you're the man for the job and covering the things that need to be covered while not forgetting about the things that priorities have required to be reprioritized. The last 6 months have been great. The next 6 months are going to be a lot harder. And so I want to encourage you as much as possible, but from my perspective, you have been as committed to public transparency and accountability and culture shift as I am. And that is very much what the community that sent me here needs from you and from the organization. You know, in terms of a grade or a numerical grade, I could have gone anywhere between 85 and 95%, and I went 95 because it's your first 6 months and you're running and shooting. The things that I think will need focus in the next 6 months are really internal. I think you've learned now that there are no casual public statements, and that, you know, if a number isn't absolutely rock solid, don't say it, because there are enough people out there. You're in a political position, whether you expected that or not. And so there are no offhand comments in front of a public forum. The thing that most worries me is that as you get into the minutia, the machine will resist the changes that you are trying to make. And the risk for any new manager in your spot is becoming captured by the machine that you are trying to change. And the only solution to that is to reach out for help from the authority when you need that extra help getting over the plateau. But you know, I think I think you have done a fantastic job. I think I am far more confident about what the next several years hold than I was when I started.
Thank you.
Mr. Rainey or Mr. Jones, would either one of you like to go next?
Well, I'd be happy to go next.
All right.
It's really a pleasure to evaluate Alex's performance. And I'm happy to say his performance exceeds my expectations. Alex hit the ground running and has not stopped since. Since he moved to the Cape, he was expecting church bells, sand dunes, and salty air. But instead, he received a letter from us from the IG and a public-facing ridership ready to do battle. But this did not faze him one bit, and he responded to the IG and used his report as a template in moving forward. He broke bread with those who were wishing to be heard, and he listened to the complaints, hoping to become friends. From his own review, he mapped out a very aggressive plan and moved forward by meeting all senior staff and management teams along with the Port Council and the authority members. He held town hall meetings, visited our lawmakers in Washington, and evaluated strategic moves to modernize our business practices and cultural thinking according to the book. In his self-evaluation, he admits that many of his plans were aggressive and to achieve. He said his cultural changes will not happen overnight, and his institutional knowledge cannot be bought. It can only be learned. But basically, I think I've offered enough accolades to fairly recommend a 92% on his evaluation, and I thank you for the work he's done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think Alex is doing great. He came in during a pivotal transitional period and dove right in head first. He's listening, he's absorbing, he's asking good questions, he's meeting stakeholders, engaging with the public, figuring things out, all while staying humble and recognizing that he does not know everything. This is important. He uses the word we, as in we will figure that out. We are listening. We can do better. We are all in the same boat. And when appropriate, he also uses the word I, as in I will get the answer. I am responsible for that. I will get that done. At the same time, he's still new. He's fresh and optimistic. And so far, he's still saying things like, this is fun. Or I'm enjoying this. Or I accept the challenge. He apparently has not been scared away and is actively embracing his position. Alex is exceeding expectations at this point, for me anyway. Sounds like for everybody else so far. He's also been here for only 6 months. Hopefully the novelty will not wear off. I gave Alex a 90%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Craig, I don't want to put you on the spot because I know you were just appointed and this is your first meeting. On the other hand, if you wanted the opportunity to say anything before I provide my review, I want to give you that opportunity.
Well, I appreciate it. Obviously, I haven't had an opportunity to see Alex in process at this point. I read his statement last night, and I thought it was really wonderful. Covered a lot of bases. I agree with Robert, who just spoke. You know, the we and the I, and it's refreshing to see. I'm just getting here, so I'm in listening mode. I want to listen to what everyone has to say, including Alex, and learn. And hopefully, my first 6 months are as successful as his sounds to be, and then I can be an attribute to the board.
Right. Thank you. I guess as chair, I get to go last. And so Alex, I have, I don't know, if Janice has shared them with you yet, but I have, I don't want to say lengthy, but a several page in-depth review of your performance that I hope you take a look at, but I won't bore us all by reading all of that. I'll just kind of summarize. What has really impressed me, you've demonstrated very thoughtful and transparent leadership style during your first 6 months. You've invested a significant amount of time rebuilding the authority's relationships, not only with different communities, but with employees and elected officials. And I think it's established a really strong foundation for some long-term organizational improvements here. Your self-assessment to us really reflected a high degree of candor, accountability, and awareness of not only accomplishments, but shortcomings. Really, the focus you've done has given us a lot in regard to stakeholder engagement, governance initiatives, and organizational assessment, and implementation of key objectives in your general manager work plan. Although you've acknowledged that your timelines were overly ambitious, as I think Rob Rainey pointed out when we first approved it, but you've taken responsibility for that slower pace, and you haven't attributed any delays to solely external factors, and I greatly appreciate that. What I'd like to see moving forward is by our next meeting of August 20, the board's next meeting in August, that you present to us a revised work plan to reflect new and realistic deadlines and deliverables that we hopefully will adopt with KPIs of where we will be when we start reviewing you on a calendar basis, I hope in January, and then we go to a 12-month review. But I think you've really demonstrated a positive leadership culture and a clear strategic direction. As you probably have come to learn in your 6 months, Woods Hole is a hard place to please, and we hold people pretty accountable. So in regards to that, I, like Rob Munir, my Port Council counterpart, I gave you an 85 over 100. This recognizes my rationale for that score is realizing that, you've really focused on relationship building. And I think that was important, but you've had slower than expected execution of several strategic commitments that you put in your work plan. I think you've really established a lot of credibility, improved transparency, but to achieve, an excellent performance rating of 90 plus for me from Woods Hole, I would have expected some greater progress in implementing some of the deliverables in the approved work plan. So overall, you are exceeding expectations in leadership and stakeholder engagement, and you're meeting all my other expectations throughout. And I really have enjoyed working with you this past 6 months. I have to say, this is the most engaged I've ever seen the board on a daily basis, which has given us a lot more work to do, including our committee assignments. But I really, like everyone else on the board, feel very positive that we are headed in the right direction in improving the steamship and once again, using your term, getting us to where we want the steamship to be in 2050.
Thank you.
I know if we want to give you an opportunity to say anything further, if you want.
I would say I am still having fun. I'm definitely thoroughly enjoying it. There are huge challenges that we still face. I'm still learning every day from everybody. There was a phrase I heard a couple of years ago that if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And that's something I really want to take to heart with this team. There's a great people that I work with in Falmouth, on the boats, in every location that we have. And it's a team effort. So I just want to thank everybody that I work with for helping me, for guiding me, for giving me advice. And I'll be leaning on you, and I hope you lean on me in the next, I think I have 2.5 years left in my contract. So you got me for a while. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Alex. So the next item is public comment. Before we go into public comment, just want to remind everyone it's 11:52 a.m. And also that we are going to go, the board, after public comment, into executive session, but we, unlike past executive sessions, we will be coming back into public session after that executive session, just to remind everyone of everyone's time and respect therefore. So with that, we'll go into public comment. We'll take public comment in the room first and then go to online.
Yeah, if anybody in the room has public comment, just come up to the microphone. Both people here were.
That could invite a lot. of people.
Employee feedback for us.
I just want to thank you all for the time and the effort that you're putting into the work that you're doing. All of you, really, thank you. It's making a big difference out here. I'm feeling a lot of positive reaction from our community, and that's all on you. So thank you very much for all that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. If anybody online is public, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, continue to come up. If anyone online wants to get in line, you can hit the raise your hand icon.
I think it's good afternoon, but anyways, I just want to say thanks. I've enjoyed working with Alex, and I think I've just enjoyed working with the board. I think outside the box, as you well know, and I know one of the issues that we have right now is the bridge coming in into the parking lot area. I think at long range, you should look at maybe putting a third lane on that bridge. I think it might cost a few dollars, but I think it will help minimize a lot of traffic issues on the highway, because they have 2 lanes now, people being taken the right first, and you'll always have a clean lane going across. So that's the only thing I'm recommending today is a third lane on the bridge.
Thank you. Go online to Mary.
Thank you very much. And first, I wanted to say welcome to Greg Espinola from New Bedford. Glad to have you on board as a public participant. And I only had 2 areas of comment. One might help you as you're learning. There was a great article in the July 15th Falmouth Enterprise that gave a good summary of the public hearing on the 530 truck question. And so I think it's worth, if the other board members haven't read it, I also commend that article. There were 2 select board members in attendance, Robert Mascali and Doug Brown. And the Falmouth Select Board had also written a letter the 1st of June. All of these people have opposed the 530 freight. Alex is quite correct. It's the freight, not necessarily the cars. And so that gives you a good history and a little bit of understanding about where Woods Hole is coming from. As Peter correctly identified, we're a little bit hard to please, but there's some good reason behind that. The other comment that I had was more of a question. As I was listening to the discussion about the fuel, the 99, when I divided 165,000 by 5 months, maybe it should only have been 4 months, I was coming up to about 35,000 a month. So I could not get to a number. I'm not saying that it's not correct, but I couldn't get to a number that was close to 2 million or 3.4 million. So just a comment that it confused me a little bit. Thank you very much again.
So Mary, it was 82.5 cents a gallon at 200,000 gallons. That's where the 165 came from. So it's 200,000 gallons. And then we use roughly 44,000 gallons per month on the Allen home at that period.
Okay, because I thought that it was said that it would take you through December of this year, which would, starting August 1, and if it did that, that's 5 months. If it took you only through November, that would be 4. So I couldn't get the numbers to work. I'm not saying they don't, but that was just a comment as to how much I thought it might be for the year. But again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Beth O'Connor.
Hi, I just have a comment and a question. The first comment is, I think we all need to think back to where we were about 6 or 7 months ago, as far as the relationship between the board and the public and the poor council and the public. And it was pretty bad. There was not openings for discussions. There certainly wasn't input. And I think the big difference that we're seeing now is a combination of, some changes in the board as well as Alex. I think we are not always going to agree, but we do, as you all know, we do a lot of research. We do not intend to let up on the pedal at all, but we absolutely feel heard, which is probably the most important thing that was lacking. Again, we're not always going to agree, but we certainly have a lot of, data to share. We have a lot of insights to share. I think we represent a large community, both Woods Hole and the Vineyard. Anyway, I just think, that it would have been really, really bad at this point if it weren't for Alex. So I hope you all take that into consideration. Okay, and then the second thing I'm going to ask my question is, okay, please, we got to do something about the blue line. We have to do something about the blue line as we get into August. It's really, right now, it is not serving, I don't think, the Vineyard. And I think that was what its purpose was. So I'm just asking, and it's so inconsistently applied. I'm going to test it again today to see what happens, but, we can't get home. I'm going to try it again in August. I can't get a reservation for 5 days. I made a bogus reservation. I'm going to try the blue line. I got to get off. So I just really encourage you to look at the blue line being a Martha's Vineyard resident only option. We keep asking the same question, and it's very unevenly deployed. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. And that's all I've got.
All right. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss and approve the minutes of the authorities meeting an executive session on June 16th, 2026, and to review and discuss the authority's strategies with respect to litigation, the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate and contract negotiations with non-union personnel, because public discussions of these matters may have a detrimental effect on the authority's negotiating and bargaining positions. These matters include Eben Elias et al. Versus Woods Hole, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket Steamship Authority, civil action number 2572 CV00492. The purchase, lease, or sale or value of real property in Hyannis, Massachusetts. The purchase, lease, or value of real property in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and the authority's employment contract with its General Manager Alex Kryska. The public disclosure of any more information with respect to these matters would compromise the purposes for which the executive session is being called. After the conclusion of the executive session, we will reconvene in public. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Jones, second.
All right. It's 12 p.m. May I have a roll call vote?
Espinola, aye.
Gavin, aye.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Randy, aye.
All right, we are moving to executive session. If you could dial back into the new number.
Yeah, say I gave him.
In 7 to 10 minutes.
Yes, I emailed out to everybody a different Zoom link for the executive session. We're gonna keep this link live for the public. So you guys can join that Zoom in about 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
Last year we had.
I would've given you 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for your patience. Thank you. I appreciate it. Definitely. I mean, look, I don't know that needs to be worded, but from that sort of perspective, why would you want to be doing massive amounts of employee reviews in the busy time of the job? So.
But then it's, some ways, it's always a busy time, I think.
Yeah. As busy as you make it.
Yeah.
But we literally go through every single employee and make sure that it doesn't
Happen.
then you have overtime,
Oh,
nothing.
it's always in the decimal points. We are.
Do I have to make the announcement yet?
You have to reread the announcement.
Yeah, and bring us back into session.
Please.
Well, I know I have to read this.
I'm not sure if Mr. Jones is gonna make it back on our mounting office.
I can read the announcements. You can just bring us back in, right?
Yeah.
We have a form.
I mean, once you get here, it's back. Yeah.
All right.
Were you live?
Craig, we'll be right back on. Sorry, we're
Okay.
just getting Mr. Jones situated.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you're ready.
120.
119.
Are we recording again?
Yes.
All right, calling us back into public session at 1:19 PM, Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. Once again, I'd like to inform everyone that Sean Driscoll, the authority's communication director, is making audio and video recording of today's meeting. If anyone else is making an audio and video recording of today's meeting, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon on the Zoom dashboard, or if you're joining by telephone, by pressing *9 on your keypad, or if you're present with us in the room, raise your hand.
Louisa.
Louisa Hofstadter, the Vineyard Gazette.
Moonky.
That'd be something that'd be 10.
Jason Graziadei. Jason.
Yeah, Jason Graziadei, Nantucket Current.
Thank you.
I don't think we did.
I think we're good.
Whatever you feel. All right, next, a statement concerning remote participation. Pursuant to section 20 of chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 as amended, Robert Jones, Robert Rainey, and Craig Espinola are participating remotely in today's meeting because their physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. Because of their participation remotely via the Zoom video conferencing app, all members will be clearly audible to each other, but I hope we would be otherwise if we were all in person. As a result, any and all votes taken by the members today shall be by roll call vote. All right, and returning back in, we have one item to discuss, and that is the employment contract of General Manager Alex Kryska, which we discussed in executive session. I believe Member Ted Gavin has a motion to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer to the authority a motion to increase Alex Kryska's salary to $251,513.60 annually, effective as of July 1st, 2026.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Or further discussion? I guess seeing none, we will move to roll call vote.
Espinola, aye.
Gavin, aye.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Randy, aye.
It has been approved. The motion passes. Is there now a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Espinola, aye.
Gavin, aye.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Randy, aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Nice meeting you.
Likewise.